What's going on, everybody? My name is Kenny Cams, and this is The Black Show. So, in the past couple years specifically, the cost of everything is going up. I think everybody watching this video have felt the real life effects of what's happening with our economy. And I think a lot of us are focused on that on a day to day because we have to survive. And we're being taken when billions of our tax dollars are going overseas. Um, it's not about prices going up or tariffs. It's about control, it's about influence, and it's about money laundering on a global scale. Today in this video, I'm going to break down where U.S. foreign aid actually goes and what effect it actually has on everyday Americans. The top 10 recipients for U.S. foreign aid in 2023. Ukraine was at 16.6 billion, Israel at 3.3 billion, Ethiopia at 1.8 billion, Jordan at 1.6 billion, Egypt at 1.5 billion, Somalia at 1.1 billion, Nigeria at 1 billion, Congo at 0.9 billion, Afghanistan at zero point 0.8 billion, and Kenya at zero point 0.8 billion. And just to add context to that, in the U.S. in total on the books, they gave out $71.9 billion. When you get to that amount of money, it's no way to track it, but just so I would expect it would be a whole lot higher than that in reality. But if we just sticking with the numbers that they tell us, the 71.9 billion, that's $300 per taxpayer alone before it ever touches our communities. Another thing to really look at in those the money going out of those countries, we are currently in war or in combat in Ukraine, with Israel and Ethiopia and Jordan, they're bombing. In Egypt, they're bombing. Somalia, they're bombing. We just talked about going to Nigeria. Congo has had issues forever. Afghanistan, of course. And then I would suspect Kenya is having something going on right now, too, where every place that we're giving a ton of money is where a lot of the conflict is happening on earth. And I would say a lot of that money is to bribe the officials of that country. So getting a chance to really think deep about how much money we're spending sending overseas, and I just wanted to give a couple numbers of what's those that money could go to, and what causes that could go to. So 47 billion would be free college for 8 million students. I think a lot of the college debt conversation is very misunderstood. I understand the people that didn't go to college that don't want debt forgiveness in that. But also, we were tricked as a generation to think that the loans, all this stuff was payable back at 18. Along with that, if large portion of the population has college debt, I have a little bit left myself, but um, the average person not having money to reinvest into the economy is going to screw everybody else. That's what's happened. That's what's screwing us now. Is people are in so much debt we can't actually dig out the hole and spend money because we're actually can't live free with all the debt that we have. We have no savings, no income, and it's a mindset also, not just a functional thing. It's a mindset of like I got to save money because we don't have the things that our parents have. So just think I want people to have a little more nuance when they talk about the free college thing because education is good for people. I think it should be more equal in ideologies in education. I think both sides have valid points, and that's what makes the best argument when everybody's together having a conversation. But that's a whole other story. 51 billion will solve homelessness. This is another one that's very. I want to be very careful speaking on this. Not careful to offend anybody, but careful to recognize that there's a lot going on here. There's a lot of corruption in the homelessness solution. I used to work at Guest House in Milwaukee. Was the biggest homeless clinic and homeless shelter in Wisconsin. I'm pretty sure. And it's a money scheme, yes, but it's also a legitimate issue that people need help with. So yeah, universal preschool for every 3 or 4 year old, which is crazy that that would cost $74 billion. Again, in a lot of this, man, I've learned, especially working in admin in the past in nonprofit, it's so much corruption that's going on that I don't think that nonprofits are the answer to this. So here's the part that confuses me, and I was very confused during, especially during the COVID time, not understand how people don't understand this. That printing money makes everything more expensive. When the feds print money, the dollar loses value, so the prices go up. And they can blame it on whatever media manipulation of supply chains and tariff or global crises, but the truth is, it's our own money manipulation. So if you have a bunch of something, it's less value, right? So the more they print trillions and trillions, and we go into more and more debt, it's just making our value of our dollar less. That's why stuff costs more. The stuff costs the same. It's just our value of our dollar is less now. One point I want to also make there, though, that they're not just wasting money from money abroad. They're actually lowering the value of what's left in your wallet. So they're doubling down and doing both, where they're taking the money from you. It's a double scam. You know, it's evil at its base. It's actually more like Game of Thrones, where we work specifically for the benefit of the oligarchs that rule over our area. And that's what I want to get into, who benefits from this foreign aid. So foreign aid is not just like humanitarian. It's not like, okay, they're starving there, so we're giving them money for food. Most often, excuse me, is most often it's in it's just for leverage, strategic leverage in a region. It might be an oil pipeline at that, or it might be a trade route, or it might be easy access to from land to sea for shipping. It may be controlling areas like that. It could be of various reasons and various interests in that. So it could be corporate interests, it could be country interests, it could be national security, it could be a bunch of different stuff. But politicians and special interest groups benefit through these contracts. They just get kickbacks. So you scratch my back, I scratch yours, and that's the part that I think that Americans have been blinded to, of like, oh, no, that's how it actually works. Um, you can legally come to, ever since Citizens United, you can legally come to America and buy our politicians. And they have them tailor the policy to benefit your interests. This is not democracy. This is organized corruption at this point. And I think it's very blatantly obvious now, and it's a portion of Americans that still have the veil over their eyes, that think that it's a true, real system, and that people aren't just corrupt at their core and that are in power. And that's the part that's most frustrating, I think, for most of us, that we can see it and the rest of the people just refuse to believe it's true. It was a term Jimmy Dore said a while ago, was adult children of alcoholics. And that's, we get called conspiracy theorists and all kind of disrespectful things because we're pointing out the problem. That's an obvious problem, instead of addressing the actual issue. So I came to the conclusion at this, that the United States of America is essentially just a laundromat for the world's corruption. And it's multiple countries this, but I think the U.S. is the big version of that. What we do is we take global interests under the guise of democracy and aid to different countries. Politicians will use packages to secure foreign deals that benefit donors. The same tax dollars that we pay get recycled into corporate and political pockets, and the media distracts us with all the culture war while all this happens so this can take place. It's very orchestrated, it's very planned, it is not by accident. And the Tea Party and the Wall Street protests in 2007, that was the beginning. That was a turning point in history that got turned the wrong way, and they put us against just when you start hearing about racism. Really thought about this growing up. So I was born in 1989, but I went to high school from 2003 to 2007. And during that time, I had friends of every race. I went to football camps. It was no, racism wasn't really a thing back then. But I think that so much trauma happened for most people from that 2000, that was around my age, from that 2007 to 2016. You know, it's a lot of years of drinking and partying and bad decisions and just bad influences. And, you know, it was just like almost a demonic force that was over our generation. And we forget that racism and all this stuff, the world was different because we didn't even think about that stuff. Like, we would call white boys. They would call us like, it was brothers. It was just how it was. So That happened purposely to distract us from getting robbed by our politicians and major corporations. And we're basically slaves funding our own oppression at this point. The working class pays in, and then the elite elite class cashes out and takes the money, and they live globally. They're not people that actually have a country. They're global citizens. So when you follow the money, y'all, you can find the truth, and the truth is that America is not broke. It's just been bought out. I would encourage people to go and research where their tax dollars are going. I've been making it a point upon myself, and I live in an area where this is very doable of investing in and spending my money in small businesses, mom and pop businesses. I think that's the key we can do. Just live a quality, good life, and invest in your own community. Because on a grander scale, things are so out of control. There's nothing that we can do about that at this point. It just is what it is. Ask. I want to see if how the crowd thinks about this. Is foreign aid necessary, or is it just like money laundering? I'm a little torn on it, so I want to see what y'all think. This is Kenny Cams, y'all. It's the Black Show. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm almost to 1,000. I stopped really caring about subscribers and stuff. I don't know, something switched in me where I don't really care about it. I just do the stuff I like or topics that I feel like I want to cover. So thank you all for listening. It's Kenny Cams, y'all. I'm out. Peace.